However, the selenium it is a medicine which is proved by the Dr. Herring. Selenium is most important medicine for the homeopathic mathematics, especially for the peoples those who are having the sexually impotent or sexually desire is lost. In that cases, it is a very important medicines. So selenium is nothing but a metals. So it was the homeopathy was introduced by the Dr. Herring, and it is a constant constituents of the bones and the teeth. Especially whenever there is some age is going as is progressing, the weakness of the bones are also pronounced, and the weakness of the teeth are also developed, and the weakness of the muscles and the mental condition are also deteriorating gradually. It's one of the topmost remedy in case of the sexual weakness. So it is if we see it, that is the constitution. So mostly what happened, the constitution has also changed, and there is lots of constitution change due to the excessive spermatoria. As a result of there may be the impotency and weakness of the sexual organs and sexual parts, then there is the flaccidity of the sexual organs, especially in the males. As a result of there, the patient having some desires, but the patient cannot perform the sexual weakness. So there are so many drugs are there which is very important in the homeopathy for the purpose of the sexual weakness. Among the sexual acid phos is the lycopodium is there, and so many drugs are there. Among them, this is also one of them. So if you see the constitution of the drugs, they are adapted to the light complexion mostly, and light complexions are there, and the blonde persons. There may be great emaciation. There may be great emaciation of the body and of the face and the hands and legs or feet or some other parts of the body. So there is the very weakness, prostration of the other parts of the body due to the loss of vital fluid. So it is a very important drugs. By observing the young generation, we can guess it whether this may be the acid phos case or the selenium case and so on. So it is if we see the relations with the heat and cold patient, the selenium patient is mostly it is a hot patient. They cannot tolerate the heat in any form and complains aggravation from hot weather, but the patient sensitive to drops, cold air, and also selenium, miasm sheet, the syphilis sheet, and sora is the miasm which covers the this medicine. Sora and syphilis is the factor. Another thing is the clinical. The alcoholism is one of the factor. Alcoholism is one of the factor as a result of whenever there is any great weakness, loss of vital fluid, and loss of weakness and physical and mental weakness, we can think of this. Another thing is the aphonia, loss of voice. The selenium is very important. Those who are having the sexual weakness and having their problem of aphonia, you can consider it. Another is the constipation. It is also one of them. They cannot expel the stools. Debility is there. Hair falling out is there. Headache hai, hoarseness hai, impotency hai, headache, hoarseness, impotency, and laryngitis and so on. So we are very prone to it. Laryngitis is also one of the very important symptoms or can produce by these drugs. Even the impotency, liver affections also, they produce the liver affections, and because of the abuse of the alcohol, sometimes there may be the signs symptoms of the priapism. Then question comes, what about the priapism? This priapism is nothing but the constant erection of the penis, that is also called the priapism. There is the prostatitis, prostatic problem is also there, prostatative, even the prostatitis, prostaturia, night pollution. These are the signs symptoms produced by these drugs. Even besides this, there is a psoriasis, there may be the spermatoria. These are also other symptoms can be produced by these drugs. So, if we see there is the miasm concerned, they are both the syphilitic and the psoriatic miasm, they are coverings. So, Dr. Herring has proved by this medicine, it is a gift of the Dr. Herring. So, and it is a topmost medicine for the case of the sexual weakness. This is main important. And another thing is, if we see the guiding symptoms of the drugs, we will find a lot of signs and symptoms are there. In case of the loss, the great weakness and weak feeling and easily exhausted from either mental or physical labor, and after typhoid or typhus or debauchery of the life. So, weakness and prostration is very remarkable. Somebody will see that the patient always constantly lie on the bed, they don't go outside and do not like to be undergoes labor. So physical labor, there, and after typhoid and typhus or debauchery of the life, debauchery, this is a very important medicines. Exhausted from either mental or the physical constitution, there is the irresistible desire to lie down and the sleep. This is also another symptoms of the drugs. Irresistible desire to lie down and the sleep. Strength certainly leaves him. Especially in the hot weather and so on. Very forgetful in a business. So if we see the irresistible desire for to lie down and sleep, and strength and certainly lives in. Strength and certainly they usually lives the irresistible desire to love, and they always desire to lie and don't like to do perform any type of work. They are especially they are very mastered in the hot weather. Okay, very forgetful in business, but during the sleep dreams what he had forgotten. This is also another area. So, very forgetful in business. Forgetfulness is very important. But during sleep, dreams of what he had forgotten. So, जो स्लीप में मन ड्रीम्स जो है वो तो भूल जाते हैं, लेकिन बिजनेस में भी भूल जाते हैं. Very great aversion to draft of cold air. So they cannot tolerate the draft of the cold air, even damp or warm and so on. So damp weather, warm weather, they can tolerate. Longing for this medicine is very much susceptible to mostly heat, but also very susceptible to cold also. So they don't like the cold weather, but they do not like the hot weather also. Longing for spirituous likers, that means that they usually prefers the spirituous liker, mean that they prefers the alcohol and so on, almost irresistible desire and maniacal desire to take the alcohol. इसलिए ये जो सेलेनियम पेशेंट हैं, ये लोग मोस्टली अल्कोहल पसंद करते हैं, ये लोग पीते भी. Even there is an extreme craving for the alcohol. They usually mostly due to the alcohol, the cirrhosis of the liver is mostly possible, digestive disorder is there, other complication is there, prostatic problem is there, and the spermatory is there. So you must think about this. There is the hungry most of the time at night. The medicine is the Sina and the Sorainam hungry during the night. Hair falls off, oryx of the body. There is the hair हेयर फॉलिंग टेंडेंसी है, very important symptoms of the drugs. Okay, the hair falls up from the head, hair falls up from the mustache, hair falls from the eyebrows, and hair falls from the mustache and the eyes, eyelids, even the genitals, even those who are consuming the whiskey or taking the alcohols. इसलिए इनका बहुत सारी बात है. Is a great craving for the alcohol. It is an syphilitic miasm. There are craving for, there is excessive sexual weakness, desires is there. It is also syphilitic miasm embedded there. So this is a very important medicine, useful in case of the weakness, prostration, and so and so. Next number is that maniacal, there is the desires, which can genital, the constipation, stool usually large, hard, impacted, show that it requires mechanical aid. So constipation where stool is becomes large, hard, impacted, and so that it requires the mechanical aid to remove the stools. And remove the stools is there and requires constipation, aloes, calcirecum, thuja, sanicula, even the sepia, silicea, plumma metallicum, and other drugs are the opium, having graphitis. So many drugs are there to remove the by manually. Another thing is that urine dribbles involuntarily. Urine usually dribbles involuntarily while walking. So there is no control of the urine, and sphincter urethra is there. So involuntary while walking, urine is dark and red and scanty, dark, red and scanty, with coarse red and sandy sediment is there. So urine becomes dribble, scanty, coarse red, and dribble, and red, sandy, and so on. And dark red, scanty with the coarse, so and so, involuntary impotency with the lewd thoughts of their and desires is there. This means that they are having some excessive sexual craving and desires and the excessive thoughts of the sexuality, and but they are physically impotent. So mentally they are the excessive potent, but physically they are the impotent. Okay. Next number, involuntary dribbling of the semen and prostatic fluid which oozes while sitting at stool and during the sleep. Most of the time देखा गया है selenium patient का sexual or dribbling of the involuntary dribbling of the semen and prostatic fluid है होते which oozes while sitting at stool, which oozes at sitting or during stool or during pressure or during sleep. इसलिए it is an involuntary evacuation of the semen and so on, evacuation of the semen and so on, and it will be found in these cases. Okay, next number, what will happen? An involuntary dribbling of the semen and prostatic fluid, which I already told you. Even that coryza ending in diarrhea, it is a very important symptoms. The sanguinary can is very important. Coryza during the coryza with the ending in diarrhea, that is coryza, but it ends in the diarrhea is very important symptoms of the sanguinary can. Headache every alternate afternoon because of there is the loss of vital fluid and loss of vital fluid in the evening, and headache due to the drunkards. Headache of the drunkards is a very important symptoms of the this calibichrome, nuts vomica, selenium, and these drugs. After drugs, after debauchery of the life जिस लोगों को debauchery है, and lemonades, tea and wine, जिनको नमक ये खाने के लेमोनेड खाने के बाद टी पीने के बाद and wine पीने के बाद, aphony after long use of the voyage. So this is also another symptoms After use of the long use of the voice, if there is an aphonia, then we can think of these drugs. Emaciation of affected part is also another factor. Even we have found that plum metaglyma is also very important medicine where there is a emaciation of the affected part is very important. Even I think graphite is also there where there is the emaciation of the affected part. Alveins from the alcohol, alveins from the tea, lemonade, अल्कोहल पीने के बाद, टी पीने के बाद, लेमोनेड लेने के बाद, even debauchery of life, loss of vital fluid, even masturbation, exertion, and so on. ये सब करने के बाद उसका अगर कोई तकलीफ हो जाए, we can think of these drugs. If we see the mind symptoms of the drugs is very important. They are very forgetful in the business. The same, if you see the selenium patient, excessive forgetfulness, they cannot concentrate their mind, they cannot remember their mind, but during sleep, dreams of what he had forgotten, even सोने के बाद वो भूल जाते वो क्या कर रहे और exertions. And alcoholic men, this is an extremely sad, they are very extremely sad, abject, despairing, uncompromising, sad, daring, uncompromising, despairing, uncompromising, and melancholic is there. Even mental labor usually fatigues them, mental labor fatigues him. Even lascivious thought with impotence is also very important factor. Lascivious thoughts with impotency. Okay. तो lascivious thought और एक सबसे बड़ी बात बोल दी है. हमेशा लोगों lascivious thought में रहते हैं, with impotency रहते हैं. Headache causes debauchery of the life. Headache from tea, lemonade, wine, location, pain over the left eye, and character of the headache. There is violent attack of lancinating pains in the head. Violent attack of lancinating pain in the head above the left eye with desire to lie down. So the patient of this medicine always there is a headache along with that due to the of course sun, due to the consuming alcohol, due to the sexual weakness, due to the prostatic enlargement, due to the spermatory and so on. Headache every afternoon. Headache is only old drunkards or acceptable. Headache of the old drunkards. The modality, aggravation, walking in the sun is also important. Strong odor or the tea is also important. Gastrointestinal symptoms, throat, selenium is a very useful remedy in the horseness. So selenium is a very useful remedy in the horseness. Aphonia, even incipient tubercular laryngitis is very important symptoms of the selenium. If there is an aphonia, laryngitis tuberculosis may be both very important symptoms. Even after long use of the voice, there is the hoarseness of the voice. The voice becomes husky and beginning to sing. There is hawking and raising in transparent lumps. When beginning to sing, there is hawking and raising transparent lumps of mucus like starch is there. So जब भी कोई hawking करते ये करते तो कोई starch में भी ये बाहर आ जाते हैं. This is also very important. Patient must clear throat frequently. इसलिए the patient will hawks like this. हमेशा hawking करते. This type of hawking is also present in case of some other drugs. Wythia also argentiniticum, also having this type of hawking. Lumps of the mucus like the starch. Patient must clear throat frequently. There may be cough in the morning with blood expectoration. Early in the morning may expectoration, cough, and the blood expectoration. Stomach. If we see stomach, causation of the stomach ailments from the sugar, salty food, drinks, tea, lemonade, and others. So these are also those who are having the tendency to take the tea, coffee, sugar, lemonade, and salty food, and tea is there, even the drunkards. If we see the drugs in general, the patient also having the excessive craving for the salt. Okay, Even besides that, there is an extreme craving for the spirituals, like and almost and maniacal desire. ये लोगों without drinks or नहीं सकते. Even in spite of whatever may be the restrictions, it is a very essential. They have to consume. Even there is a sweet taste in the mouth and thick white coating of the tongue in the morning is also there. Hiccup and eructation after smoking is also there. Hiccup and eructations after smoking. Okay. So smoking करने के बाद hiccup and eructation is also very important. There is a pressure in the stomach as if cramps would occur. Hiccup, pressure, stomach and cramps would occur. Hunger at night. इसलिए लोग रात में क्या करते हैं? स्टमक में पेन है, एज इफ उठ हंगर एट नाइट, रात में इसका भूख लग जाते, लाइक द सीना एंड सोलाइनम sulfur and sugar. Even elements from the liver problem, because of the painful enlarged liver, there is the pain, fresh fine rash over the liver region due to the consuming the alcohol. Okay, there is the constipation, constipation after serious illness, constipation of serious and especially the enteric fevers. It is very important symptoms of the drugs. Constipation, especially enteric fevers, stools are becomes hard, large, and is very much impacted, and they have to be removed mechanically. Stool has to be removed mechanically, and so on. Male sexual the remedy has a great remedy for the action on the male genital system, and is quite in favor of remedy with homeopaths for the ills and abuse of sexual system. Ills and abuse of sexual system such as impotency, spermatoria, prostaturia, priapism and debility. इसलिए ये मेडिसिन में हम क्या देखेंगे? Sexual weakness due to the so many reasons, abuse of the sexual system, and such as impotency, spermatoria, prostaturia, priapism, even debility. Weakness of sexual organs is the characteristic feature of the drugs. So most of the time there becomes impotent, a loss of the increased desire, but the decreased ability, loss of the sexual power with weakness and prostrations. इसलिए इसमें क्या देखेंगे? Most of the time there is the prostaturia, weakness, the patient always in desire, sexual desire but unable to perform, and the even your sexual organs becomes flaccid and small. Even loss of sexual power with the lascivious fancies, the erection is become slow, insufficient erection, too rapid emissions with long continued thrill. Too rapid emission with long continued thrill is very weak, ill-humored nature after coitus. Very ill-humored, गुस्से वाला है, and after coitus. इसलिए after loss of seminal fluid, they becomes arrogant, aggressive. There is involuntary dribbling of the semen and prostatic fluid, which oozes while sleeping, while sitting, while at stool, while constipation, during sleep. It can be thought of in priapism, where glands are drawn up. In case of priapism, that means a constant erection of the penis. In case of the when there is they usually the glands have become drawn up. It can be compared with the Agnus castus. Agnus castus also is a very important medicine for the case of the sexual weakness. It is a very important section of the caladium. It is also useful in case of the caladium like. Every medicine has some own distinguishing feature. The calcula carb is also there. Sexual weakness due to the fatty flaviness. And the cona macrotum. The old people who have the no desire for the extreme desire for the sexuality but cannot perform due to weakness. Lycopodium is a very important medicine for with the gastric disturbances. Phosphoric is also important medicine for the case of weakness, prostration, and spermatory is there. And staphysia is a constant brooding about the sex, and those who are the very irritable and constantly, and there may be the after complication after the masturbation, then we can think it. Even in general, if we see the difference, distinguishing feature of the agnus castus, the agnus castus are the complete impotency. Agnus castus, complete impotency, especially resulting from the frequent attack of the gonorrhea and abuse of the sexual power. So there is an abuse of sexual power and the abuse of the gonorrhea. Gonorrhea होने के बाद, okay, gonorrhea होने के बाद कोई complication है, even sexual abuse of sexual power होने के बाद, patient is prematurely old from seminal loss. कभी कभी देखा गया selenium patient are very old looking patient because of the seminal loss. There is the relaxation, there is the flaccidity, there is the coldness of the genitals, flaccidity, coldness of the genitals, and relaxation, flaccidity, these are very common symptoms of the drugs. No sexual desire or the no sexual power. Isliye thus the penis always becomes flaccid, small, and unable to perform the sex. This is very important symptoms and small type. Even sometimes, but there is the voluptuous desire is there. Even this voluptuous fancy excites no erections. कभी कभी देखा गया excite है लेकिन no erections. Melancholia, apathy, mental torpor, self-condemned, and general debility are characteristic feature of the agnus. So इनको साथ general debility भी है, तो we can think of these drugs. Next number is there is the so characteristic feature of the general debility, premature seminal loss, relaxation, flaccidity, coldness in genital, no sexual power or desires, even voluptuous fancies are there in agnus, complete impotency, and after usual resulted from attack of gonorrhea or sexual abuse. If we see the characteristic feature of the caladium, caladium also is a very important symptoms of the sexual weakness. Okay, so if we see it is very preferable in advanced cases of the sexual weakness, advanced cases of sexual weakness, impotency with mental depression. So caladium में क्या देखेंगे? Impotency, sexual weakness, mental depression, penis is relaxed with sexual desire, penis is relaxed with sexual desires and the excitement. There is no erections even after caresses. So it means after embrace, after desires, no emission is there. No organism due to an embrace. Even is so weakness, so prostration, even the penis never strengthened and so on. In advanced case of sexual weakness, एक ही शब्द में बोल दिया, advanced cases of sexual weakness. जब sexual weakness इतना ज़्यादा होते हैं जो कुछ नहीं कर सकते, तो impotency है, mental depression है, and penis relaxed है, sexual desire and elasticity, excitement, then only. Calcutta carb is a very important medicine. It terrifies the bad effects of the early masturbation. जो लोग early in the morning, early in the childhood में masturbation करते हैं, वो लोगों के लिए problem है. Every coitus is followed by the weakness of mind and body. It is very another important symptoms of the drugs. Every coitus is followed by weakness and prostration of the mind and body. There is the ejaculation is tardy and unusual weakness. Ejaculation is tardy, unusual weakness, and weakness of the following indulgences. So अचानक ऐसे होने से शिप्रा कोनामैक्रोटा. It is a great remedy for the impotency and from excessive sexual indulgence in the remedy for the bad episode arise out of suppression of sexual desire, especially in the age of the old people. So previously I told you that conamaculatum is very important medicine for the case of the old people, old bachelors, old maids, old bachelors. So it is a medicine used for the old people. This is very important symptoms of the drugs. And besides this, great remedy for impotence for the excessive sexually indulgence patient who always remedy for the bad effects of the this arise out of suppression of sexual desires, and especially in the age of the old people. This is very important. So here we can identify, we can prescribe the medicine on the basis of the causative factor. If we see the lycopodium, so in case of the lycopodium, what we will find it is suited to the impotence of the young and the old man. It is also another important symptoms of the lycopodium. इसलिए lycopodium जैसे small young children को मिलते ऐसे lycopodium old patient को मिलते. But the lycopodium के causative factor क्या है? Lycopodium patient upper body mass shuttle lower percentile. Lycopodium के gastric problem होते हैं. Lycopodium suited to impotence of the young as well as the old men, impotence from onanism and from sexual excess. So impotence especially for the onanism, masturbation, and sexual excess. The penis is small, cold, and relaxed. In old men, there is strong desire to but imperfect erection. In the old man, there is strong desire for desire but imperfect erections. Old man का desire है लेकिन imperfect erection है. Okay, patient falls asleep during an embrace. The patient falls asleep, सो जाते in an embrace में. Even as there is any easily like ejaculation tendency, so the semen will not remain there and easily vomited, easily coming out. Next number, desire to be imperfect erections. Patient falls asleep during an embrace. There may be premature emissions. There may be some premature erections is there and the emission is there. Then coming up the phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid is also one of the very important medicine for the cases of the impotency and the prostaturia and ejaculation. When the patient suffers from the excessive night pollution, कभी कभी देखा गया जो लोग excessive night pollution होते हैं रात में सोने के बाद similar discharges होते हैं वो लोगों के लिए भी staphylococcus is very important remedy. Sometimes several in one night. It is very important of the drugs. तो अगर देखा गया जो एक आध बार हो गया तो कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन few hours, एक घंटा में कि रात भर कुछ 4-5 बार हो गया तो हम लोग weakness, prostration, debility and these conditions developed and desires increased after coitus. So if a patient क्या होता है desire increased after coitus, that is a very uncommon symptoms of the drugs. So the patient is mentally very sad and they are abased. They are very sad, gloomy, abased. Okay, and despair to cure. एक कभी नहीं सोचते जो लोगों को कभी ठीक होने वाला है. In onanism too, patient is greatly disgraced by the capability of the act. इसलिए patient is very greatly distressed by the capability of the act. This is also very important factor of the drugs. Okay. Next number is the staphylococcus. If we see the staphylococcus, what we find is a very good remedy for the cases with the spermatoria. Okay. It is very good remedy for the cases of the spermatoria after masturbation with sunken feature, greasy or the guilty look is there. Another thing is the abased look. जो abased होने के बाद कोई अगर abased होने के बाद अगर कोई guilty abased look, इवन उसका जो स्टैफिलोकोकस का जो लुकिंग है ये बहुत ही खराब है. उनको चेहरा उसका आँख बता देते वो कैसे नेचर का है. इसलिए अगर इफ यू गो टू द एलन स्किन नोट यू विल फाइंड देयर इनका चेहरा बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं. सेमिनल एमिशंस इज फॉलोड बाय द बैकएक. सेमिनल एमिशंस इज फॉलोड बाय द बैकएक, वीकनेस एंड रिलैक्सेशन एंड atrophy of the seminal organs. इसलिए कभी कभी देखा गया weakness, prostration, this and that. And after discharges, after seminal discharges, there may be this voluptas, relaxation, atrophy. Patient is highly irritable and persistently dwelling on the sexual subjects. They are very irritable. The patient of the selenium very irritable and highly persistently dwelling on sexual subjects. हमेशा ये सेक्स के बारे में सोचते हैं. Constantly thinking of the sexual pleasure. हमेशा ये sexual pleasure में रहते हैं. The skins, their hair falls out. The hair falls out from eyebrows. This is very important. Hair falls out from the mustache. Hair falls out from the beard. Even the genitals, dry scaly eruptions on the palms, which brought with itching about the ankles and fold of the skin, itching about the ankles and fold of the skin. Okay, staphylococcus is there, and itching after finger joints and between the fingers. Easily itching about the ankles and folds of the skin between fingers, itching about the fingers, joints in between the fingers, on palms, vesicular eruptions between the fingers. In case of itching, you will find it, there is a vesicular eruptions are very important. Vesicular eruption between the fingers are there, and with oily surface of the skin is also there. So if you find that the oily surface in the skin, हमारे पास कौन मेडिसिन है, कैलकिरा है, थुजा है, नेट्राम्यूड है, these are the oily fish. Even marsal है, there is the each attached by the mercurials, each attached by the mercurials and sulfur, often the requirement of the mercurials and sulfur, and requirements of the selenium. So what you will find it, even mercury is also producing this type of symptoms, sulfur is also produced. But this medicine have some very importance, because selenium having some different types of category, and there is the excessive voluptas, erection and spermatoria. In spite of that, they usually call to the other sexes. So draft of aggravation from draft of cold air is very important. Aggravation from the sun, heat of the sun is also another important. Aggravation from the lemonade, that is also another important. Aggravation of the tea and aggravation from the wine. Okay. So if we see the in general conditions, aggravation from the draft of air, aggravation from the heat of the sun, aggravation from the lemonade, aggravation from the tea, and aggravation from the wine. So whenever we think about it, the aggravation, ammunition, phase and causative factor must be remembered. Ammunition, taking cold water or cold air into the mouth. So ammunition of the selenium is taking cold water or cold air into the mouth. Ammunition. Even if we see in general the comparison mathematica, then we will find it very easily and which medicine may be useful. If we see the emulsion cold air and cold things meant to cold air, compare with the phosphorus in genitourinary and respiratory speakers, respiratory organ systems, organs or systems. So if we see phosphorus in general, it has the action upon the urogenital organs, okay, urogenital organs and urinary respiratory organs and so on. The argentiniticum is also very important medicine for the cases of this type of problem, but there is any argentiniticum and stannum metal is very important in case of the that is the laryngitis of the singers. So in case of the laryngitis and singers singing problem, we can think of these drugs. and even singers or the speakers. Alumina is there, the hard. Alumina, in case of alumina, there is the hard stool, inactive rectum, and follows well after caladium. Caladium is a heart patient. Caladium is a very also important for the sexual weakness. Even caladium acts on the nectum sciaticum, caladium phosphorus and phosphoric acid and sexual weakness. So whatever may be in case of prescription, will find it different, difficult, but the aggravation after follows well after caladium, natrum is also there, natrum curve is also there, staphysaccharide is also there, phosphoric acid there, and sexual weakness is there. Then we can think about the drugs. Okay, but we will think about the some other drugs are also, which is very important on these conditions. So, in case of the selenium, whenever we will find it, the selenium, basically one example I am giving you. Once upon a time, and I was in Bengal at the time, one person who is having some addicted to the alcohol, and they usually consume the alcohol every day. And when I saw the person in some festival, I found that his all the eyebrows, mustache, beard, and hairs are undergoes loss. And not in one place, everywhere there is the small patches are there, and so and so. So I told him, what happened? Why this is? Bole je dekho, I don't know anything about it, but what medicine I should take it? I asked him, what medicine you have taken? He told that is of course I have taken the selenium. Okay, but how many doses you have taken? He told me that only one dose I have taken. I was very surprised. He is a practitioner since near about 30 years, more than that. But he was taken only single dose of the selenium. And there is, this mustache has gone here, and there's a few hairs are remaining, but there is no such result. But I told them, and he is always busy with the smoking or consuming the alcohol. And sometimes he usually send his boy to bring the alcohol. I repeatedly called that fellow, don't do this because of, don't do this because if you are a father, you are giving the money to your son to bring out the alcohol. You should be ashamed, and so on. I scolded him. Then he realized, he put his head in front of me. Then he realizes that I am his well-wishers. But this condition was happened. Then after giving him, एक काम करो, तुम selenium लेते जाओ, ऐसे नहीं, twice daily, for at least 10 days. Then he has started to take the selenium twice daily for 10 days, 15 days like this. You'll be surprised. All the patches was covered by the hairs. And some other tips I had given. Do this and that, and do not this and that. He was maintained, and after some time I have found that his whole patches is covered with the hairs. There is a good result in other area, and he also have craving for the alcohol is also to some extent less, and later on he becomes happy and smoothly life. Now he has died. Some problem was there. There is cirrhosis of liver also established later on. So in one way he is consuming the alcohol, in another way taking this type of stramonium and taking this and that. So his condition was deteriorating and was losing. So this is to some extent I am giving you a basic knowledge, basic clinical experience in my life. But I have prescribed 3 to 4 times regarding the selenium. Even I may give you example about this. This is happening. Next number, extreme, अगर if you see the extreme debility, extreme weakness, and increases the heat of the atmosphere, loss, extreme desires, extreme heat, extreme cold, that also causing aggravation. And during that extreme heat, he becomes very much fed up, and he has to lie down. Okay, has to lie. He cannot perform the work. He cannot go to the heat of the sun and so on, and wants to lie down and sleep. Wants to sleep all the day. Even the staphysagrine and phosphoric acid also there, but the appearance is very important. Somewhere the selenium is to be given, somewhere desire, aversion, and something other else we have to consider. Then complaints are worse after tea. It is another complaint. Very important symptoms of the drugs. So whenever we see the complaints after tea, बहुत सारे लोग क्या करते हैं, चाय पीते, लेकिन कोई कोई लोग 8 बार, 10 बार, 12 बार, 15 बार ले लेते हैं. As a consumer, they have some loss. There is no appetite, no hunger due to the excessive consuming the tea. We can think of this medicine. Even those who consume the salt in muthi, but we can think of the selenium. Even particularly the headache is also very important in the drugs. They cannot tolerate heat in any form. Wherever there is any heat, they usually avoid. They cannot go to the sun. This is very another important. And what's after tea? Their complaints. What's after tea? Particularly the headache, especially in the sun. The sclerosing procrastinum is also there due to the headache. China is also there due to the loss of vital fluid. Ferromate is also there due to the lack of the oxygen and the lack of the hemoglobin percentage. Thuja is also there, tea, and from headache, you can think of it. After tea and coffee, if there is any complication, we can think of the thuja. Next number, weakness following the prolonged fever. Sometimes we will find that there is a weakness and prostration after prolonged fever. बुखार होने के बाद उसको बहुत दिन तक weakness, prostration आएगा. ठीक है, हम चाइना सोचते हैं, but don't neglect the selenium. There is a very strong desire for the alcoholics. This is also another very characteristic symptoms of the drugs. So whatever may be the drugs and causative factor, strong desire for the alcoholic drinks and the stimulants. Strong desire for alcoholic drinks and for stimulants. ये हमेशा ऐसे करते हैं. So alcoholic drink stimulant, emaciation and affected part कैसे है? कोई particular part emaciated होते हैं, an affected part, and so on. So when there is an affected part emaciated, we must think of the graphitis, lidampel, pulsatilla is very important medicine, and the selenium is also there. So affected part, the graphitis is there, lidam is there, even the pulsatilla is there, and selenium is there. Emaciated part, weakness, prostration, and lethargy. The strong desire for the alcoholic drinks and the stimulants. Okay, this is very important. The weakness and strong weakness are there. Weakness, prostration has gone. Already the patient becomes very weak. So strong desire for absent, emaciation, affected parts, graphitis, lidam, and the pulsatilla is there. Falling of the hair from the scalp is very important symptoms of the drugs. फॉलिंग ऑफ द हेयर. ओके, इसलिए उम्र में, यंग उम्र में और मिडिल एज में अगर फॉलिंग ऑफ हेयर हो गया तो यू कैन थिंक ऑफ द फॉस्फोरिक एसिड, स्टैपिशेक, सेलेनियम. These medicine are most prone to some chondromacular tabby or the selenium or the some other drugs. Okay. Next number, involuntary emissions of the prostatic fluid is also very important factor of the drugs. Emission of involuntary emission of prostatic fluid during straining, during straining a stool, sleeping and sitting. So when there is any sitting, straining and stool, if it gives pressure, there is some complications there. But what happened? It is half asleep, straining stool, very forgetful patient is there. Very forgetful patient is there. So all the selenium patients are very forgetful due to the loss of the vital fluid. Okay. Codam maculata is also one of the medicine where there is a forgetfulness of the patient. Even forgetfulness is there, dreams of what he had forgotten, straining and stool, sleeping is very important. Half asleep condition, most of the time they are remaining half asleep condition. This is very uncommon peculiar symptoms of the drug. But lycopodium also, half closed eyes. Selenium, lycopodium is very important. Even sometimes the antimetard also there, half closed eyes and so on. Even so, straining and stool as half closed eyes as conditions, dreads of mental exertions, डरे हुए होते mental exertions से. Next, left-sided headache, what's afternoon, left-sided headache, what's afternoon, tea and wine. It is very important symptoms of the drugs. For the tea, from wine and afternoon aggravation. Then question comes about the coryza. Okay, so cough, cold, coryza is also another symptoms. And left-sided headache, what's afternoon, even after wine or after tea, left-sided headache is also very. Even thuja is also left-sided. Laches is left-sided and so on. Coryza ending in diarrhea, coryza ending in diarrhea. This is very uncommon peculiar symptoms of the drugs. Coryza में क्या देखने का? Coryza के साथ diarrhea. First coryza, then diarrhea is very important. The ravenous hunger at night is very uncommon peculiar symptoms of the drugs. So, if there is any ravenous hunger, we can think of the drugs. Especially aggravation at night and gastric complaints after tea and wine is also another symptoms of the drug. Gastric complaints after wine or tea is also another symptoms of the drugs. Okay. So ravenous of the gastric complaints after tea and wine, constipation is also there, dry, hard and impacted stool. Codam maculata is also there. Codam maculata is a very important medicine for the impaction of the stool. Even after the lycopodium, plumbum, graphitis is also there. And constipation, dry, hard, impacted brain is also there. Has to be removed mechanically after typhoid or exoptoria. Mechanically to be removed. Dekho, in case of the children, there is the weakness, prostration, and stool is hard, naughty, has to be removed mechanically. Sanicula, sulfur, magcarb, calciracum, silicea, these are the remedies which are very useful in case of these persons. So there may be that very red sand urine, there may be red scant urine in drops with enlarged prostate, in drops with enlarged prostate. So red sand urine is there and enlarged prostate. It is a very important symptom. Like red sand urine, lycopodium, sarsaparilla, ferramate, these are the drugs are there. But if there is any with some other complications, red sand urine with urine drops with enlarged prostate, we can think of it. Enlarged prostate में सबल ही लगी है, सबल से उल्टा है, कोना मैक्यूलेटम है, वराइटा कब है, वराइटाइड भी है, फिर भी इंक्रीज सेक्सुअल डिजायर विथ फिजिकल इम्पोर्टेंस और एक शब्द बोल दिया, इंक्रीज सेक्सुअल डिजायर बट दे आर फिजिकली इम्पोर्टेंट। सेक्सुअल डिजायर है, इंक्रीज है, लेकिन इम्पोर्टेंस भी है। कोना मैक्यूलेटम फॉस्फोरस, इरेक्शन बिकम स्लो, इसका पेशेंट का इरेक्शन स्लो, there is the deficient of the erections, where there is the weak ejaculation of the seminal fluid is also there. Next number, if we see that there is a chronic hoarseness of the singer is also another very important factor of the drugs. Chronic hoarseness of the singers. बहुत सारे लोगों को देखो अर्जेंटाइटिकम, अर्जेंटामेटालिकम यूजुअली मोस्टली कोई आयोडियम देते, बट don't engage this selenium. Chronic hoarseness of the singers and public speakers. This is very important. So, what will find it? In case of the chronic hoarseness of the singers and speakers, alumina is there, aurum triphylicum is there, and argentiniticum is there. So, in case of the argentiniticum, there is a chronic hoarseness. But the sweet is there, cravings. Old person, weak, emaciated, these are also very important. But there is the singers and hoarseness which there, public speakers भी है. So aluminum is also one of the medicine where there is a hoarseness and important. The hoarseness, aurum triphylicum is also another medicine, argentiniticum is also another medicine. Next number, itching, scaly eruptions of the palms and what's in the finger. और एक शब्द बोल दिया, itching eruptions of the palms and shoals and lower extremity. What's in the summer? So, modernity is what's in the summers and itching eruptions mostly found in case of the summer weather. So, all complaints aggravation in the summer. So, summer weather aggravation is very important of these drugs. Then, if we see modalities, all complaints aggravation in the hot weather, aggravation by summer, walking in the open air, and tea. Lemonade, hot days, sexual excess, and sleep better in the after sunset, and the cold better after sunset and the cold. So, if we see in that sense, what are the medicine are very useful. In that sense, we will find it. This is one of the medicine where there is the this type of symptoms is present, especially, and what will find it? These are medicine has some important for the loss of hair and the important in the loss of vital fluid and so on. So if we see in general, so causes about abuse of the sex and excessive consuming of the alcohol is also main factor. So in general, if we see in impacts, what will find? Saline constantly, bone and teeth, effects on the urogenital organs and prostatitis, sexual atony, great debility, worse in the heat, exhaustion, and mentally and physically weak, and especially for the old age, debility after exhausting disease. If we see the mind, then the lascivious thoughts, pain over the left eye, lascivious thoughts, mental labor, usually fatigue, even extreme sadness, abject despair, uncompromising melancholia, uncompromising, hair fall head, hair falls out, pain over the left eye, worse walking in the sun, strong odors and the tea, strong odors and tea. Okay. Scalp feels tense, headache from tea drinkers, or throat, incipient tubercular laryngitis, hawking and rising and pool and mucus from the mouth. Even there is a constant hoarseness and irritability to the posterior nerves. Hoarseness of the singer, much glass, even the some mucus tanning, starchy mucus, stana metallica. Desire for the brandy and whiskey and other strong drinks and sweetest taste. Hiccup and eructation after smoking. Hiccup and eructation after smoking, very important. And hiccup, irritation after smoking, this medicine. And after eating, pulsation all over the body, especially the abdomen is there. Abdomen, the chronic enlargement of the liver is there, very painful, enlarged, with the rash over the liver region, stool become constipated and hard, knotty. Has to manually remove. Dribbling of the semen during the sleep, dribbling of the prostatic fluid, and but there is the weakness of the sexual power and lost is there. Okay. And what we will find? Increased desire, decreased ability, semen thing, oat semen thing, and odorless is also there. Okay. And whatever about it, whatever dry skin eruptions with itching about the fingers and in between fingers, and aggravation in the palms, visual eruption between the fingers, arsenic and anacardia. Seborrhea odosa, that is the loose ear. Pimples are there. Common use in oily skin and so on. Extremities, paralytic pain, small of the back in the morning, tearing pain in the hands and so on. Sleep prevented by pulsation of the vessels like the natamur, sulfur, worse in abdomen. Sleeplessness until midnight or a same hour. Moderate hours after sleep in the hot weather from syncona and draft of air and question. Relationship of the very important, the China is also very important medicine. And after loss of vitamin complex, we can think of the China. Even China is very aggravation incompatible. So the China should not be given after the selenium. Also, even incompatible to wine. Wine लेने के इसका तकलीफ भी होते हैं. Okay. Compare if we sheet Agnas castus already told, caladium already told, sulfur. The skin is symptoms is very important. Model is important. From even the tellurium is very important. The hair loss, particular jagame and other complications there. Phosphoric acid is also there, and the weakness, prostration after loss of vitamin and so on. And antidotes by the antidotes, ignition pulsator. So if we given this antidotes by the ignition pulsator, but 6 and 30 potency is mostly useful. But sleeplessness, ulceration, discharge are markedly diminished after it. So weakness, prostration is also very important factor of these drugs. We can think of it. Let's try and got it. And we will be achieve good results by the giving of the selenium. Thank you.